Hey everyone, it's Kevin. Welcome back to the channel. I made this short about a month ago for the Christmas season. I was trying to create something fun and whimsical, but like all of my holiday pieces, I made this one really last minute in about 2 days. This usually happens where I'm intending to make something for Christmas, but then I don't realize it's actually right around the corner. Now, honestly, you can kind of tell because it's a little rough around the edges and it's not really polished. However, it does get the point across. It usually takes me a few days to finish one of my regular pieces, and that's usually just an animated illustration or a story moment with different camera angles. But this was kind of the first time I was trying to make something cinematic, and I had a lot of fun making it. So in this video, I'm going to walk through what that process looked like and where I'm hoping to push my Blender work in the future. This short was inspired by a project I started a few years ago called Maxwell. I've talked a little bit about this on my channel, but it's based off my actual dog. I've already made a few animations featuring him, and you can check them out at Maxwell the dog on Instagram, but I've included him in every Christmas piece I've made since starting this channel. I'll probably do a deep dive on this later, but this was a project I wanted to focus on for 2023. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to it, so I thought to make this short as a way to prioritize it for this new year. The recurring theme is that magical and extraordinary things happen to Maxwell. So I imagined him by a fireplace on a cozy evening, and that's when I thought of a large Christmas tree coming to life and giving him a gift. The gift being Madeleine cookies. So my dog really loves sugar. I don't know what it is, but he goes absolutely crazy for it, especially Madelines. Now, I don't recommend giving your dog cookies, maybe one specifically made for them, but I decided to weave this into the narrative. I started with doodling some really rough storyboards based off this idea. This short was going to be about 30 seconds or so, and I planned all the important shots and sets I needed. There were only two, which was the exterior city and interior living room. Then I moved on to blocking out the scene with meshes and using that to set up the different cameras. Now, something that was super helpful was that I had already created a bunch of assets from scenes I made previously. Without them, I don't think I would have been able to finish this one within the amount of time I had. I mainly reused ones from the Christmas town scene I did 3 years ago, pulling in the city and tree, the Maxwell baking scene I did 2 years ago using the wreaths and other decorations, and the office scene using the shader and other items. Again, most of these elements are meshes with a toon shader applied and grease pencil added to supplement the look. And if you don't know what grease pencil is, it's a tool in Blender that allows you to draw and animate 2D and 3D space. After putting the elements together, I went over the scenes with a grease pencil brush just to give it some texture. I've been doing this a lot, adding volumetrics and atmospheric effects to my pieces as a way to tie it all together. So for big pieces like this tree, this was animated with a lattice armature rig. I have the base meshes here, which are the tree and ornaments, and then grease pencil elements, which are the face and leaves. For Maxwell, I had previously created different poses with grease pencil from other animations, and I had a really old character reference sheet I made when I first started this project. So after blocking out the key poses, I made the in-betweens to make the animation smoother. Now with something this long, I would generally separate it into different scenes within Blender, but I decided to keep everything in the same scene to make it easier. I did some compositing to fix the color and light effects, and that was pretty much it. I really enjoyed the process of making this. I think I've always wanted to make something story-driven and a sort of world that you could step into. I touched on this in my 3 years in Blender video, and this definitely scratched that itch. However, after thinking about it and rewatching it for this video, there were things I wanted to fix quality and workflow-wise. Quality-wise, there were lots of things, but I kind of had to stop myself, accept it, and focus on the next one. Workflow-wise, I did realize some limitations. A question that I get asked pretty frequently is, can you export grease pencil for another program or game engine? And unfortunately, at this time, you cannot. Although grease pencil is an amazing tool in Blender 3D, it doesn't have the exportable components that make it compatible with other programs. So in taking this into consideration and thinking about a world that you could step into, I thought to model the Maxwell character in 3D. I started this a few days ago and recently finished this on a Twitch live stream. I've been meaning to get back into streaming, so I randomly did it this week. I'm warming up and hoping to eventually live stream on YouTube. Anyway, I like the idea of modeling in 3D and using 2D to supplement rather than solely relying on 2D. And I ended up modeling the main components like the head, body, and tail. But the face is still made with grease pencil. When it gets to that point, I'll eventually model the face with meshes, but this is kind of an exciting prospect. I'm still working on this and hoping to use it in a few shorts in the near future. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Little Maxwell won't be the only thing that I focus on, but the philosophy of making things story-driven with a purpose will be. Also, if you want to learn more about my 2D 3D workflow with grease pencil, you can check out my course, Magic Storybook. In it, I teach you everything you need to know to get started with grease pencil, and in the most recent update, I focus on how to use grease pencil in a workflow that combines 3D elements. We'll explore techniques to create vibrant 2.5D scenes that move from beyond the flat page into dimensional space. You can check it out at cgboost.com. Anyways, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thanks again and see you guys next time.